Hi, today we'd like to talk about the pros and cons of living in Bali. Just a little background, we were in Bali for around 6 months. And during that time, we stayed at various hotels, guest houses, and villas throughout the island. So we just like to share our experience related to that.
On the pros, so Bali, number one, it is beautiful. So the beauty of the place, the terrain, the people, the weather, really, it is remarkable. It's amazing. And another pro for us was that the English language was pretty prevalent there. So it really did help to communicate and get around the place.
The ease of renting a motorbike and the freedom to be able to explore the island was definitely a plus for me. Also, there's a wide range of surf spots throughout the island from Canggu to the Uluwatu area, from beginner to advanced, and you can easily rent a board most places on the island relatively cheap. We did also explore the yoga community out in Bali, and we noticed that there's great studios with fantastic views and amazing instructors who are really skilled at what they do.
So we promise we're going to shoot some more videos specifically to the pros of Bali. Today's video really is going to talk more about the quirks or the cons. So no matter where you live, you're going to encounter quirks and cons. For us, this is just what happened to us. And really, we just wish we knew about some of these things prior to coming to Bali, just so that we can be a little bit more prepared. First, for us, we were sort of surprised that Bali really is not a walking place. The streets are really filled with scooters and cars. It's not pedestrian friendly. So it was a bummer when really, we can't go out for our evening walk or really feeling super comfortable walking to restaurants or shops. Really, we had to hop on the scooter.
Yeah, and another issue we noticed was traffic. So you've probably seen some of the videos where Bali is notoriously horrible with traffic. Part of the reason is they don't really have the infrastructure for the roads, so a lot of the cars sort of take up, cause a lot of the traffic. But we did notice like during certain times of the day, traffic was worse than others. So early in the morning, traffic really wasn't bad where we were at, or in most places, depending on where you are. Also, if you're closer to the beach, traffic isn't as bad. So if you're on the outskirts or you're taking the shortcuts later in the day, you're going to run into traffic. But honestly, traffic is pretty much bad in most major cities.
Hmm.
So it is a con, but you can manage it depending on where you're at.
For sure. Next up, Bali is growing. So with that comes a lot of construction. When we first moved into our guest house, it was so calm and peaceful. We had amazing rice paddies right by us, and little by little, the construction just kept coming our way. Even so, we had construction right on top of us. Construction now is a little bit different than it would be like in Western culture. Um, they work a lot, and sometimes we had workers right next to us at 3 in the morning. Now, if you're in a neighborhood, this is really is not supposed to happen, but it does. So it's just one of these things. Hopefully, you can communicate with your landlord or whoever you're renting from to get that situation handled. But it is a reality.
Yeah, so if you're coming to Bali and you're in an area that's undeveloped, most likely that's going to be developed at some point and you're
Hmm.
going to run into some of these construction issues. If you're in areas like Kuta Seminyak, it's a little more developed there, so you may not have those issues depending on where you're at.
For sure.
And some other issues we ran into are nightly noises. So we live close to Atlas Beach Club, which is the biggest beach club in the world, and every night they would have fireworks that would go off. So that was one thing we encountered is, and then as well as dogs barking in the middle of the night and large big geckos
Oh
making
yeah, those
noises.
famous geckos,
Yeah.
We like to go out, we like to socialize and meet people. We found that, with the younger crowds, a lot more people were just really there on vacation. So they really just stuck to themselves. So that was a bit of a bummer for us. Not saying that people around, our age weren't out and about. We just didn't encounter them. So it was a little bit of a bummer for us. But what can you do?
Yeah, we noticed just most people were in their 20s and 30s and would go to beach clubs, which really isn't our scene. But we were like looking for a nice lounge or a good dive bar, and it was really few and far between what we found there. So
Yeah, for sure. Next up, the quirkiness of ATMs. So I think, Scott, you should go into that one a little bit more.
yeah, so the ATMs in Bali are, you know, a problem in a sense because you can go to an ATM, put your card in, and it would just kick your card back and say, you know, there's no money in the account. But what happens, it credits your bank account for that amount you tried to withdraw, even though you didn't get the money. So that's going to put a hold on your card. So at points we were going to different ATMs. We were going to one, getting rejected, going to another, getting rejected. And both times it takes that money out of your account. Now it takes 2 to 3 days to get that back. So obviously that's a problem if you have limited funds. It's going to hold that money until the bank realizes that this isn't an actual charge. Also, another issue is some people have their ATM cards eaten up at the machine and they don't get them back. So if you're at a random ATM not connected to a bank, you may have a tough time getting your ATM card back and you may not be able to get cash, which is needed in some locations. Like we had to pay cash for our rent, for our motorbike, so we had to make large withdrawals from the ATM.
Yeah, definitely wasn't so convenient. Next up, you'll notice a lot of places, your homes, your villas, do not have ovens. So not a typical appliance to have there. You will have stovetops. So for me, who loves to bake, unfortunately, I couldn't do that. So we had to go out, find some baked goods. Always
Yeah.
not a bad thing. But with that, also, we weren't doing a lot of cooking at home. We had to go to restaurants.
Yeah. And there are a few good bakeries there. We found some good ones with some great, baked goods, which we love. Another thing we noticed is that restaurants are, as much as the restaurants are great, and we had some good experiences there with restaurants because we ate every night out at Western restaurants and some local restaurants as well. But they're hit or miss, meaning that sometimes you go to these restaurants that are rated really good and you think it's going to be great and not so good. So our strategy was, after a while, just go to a place if it was our first time and order one thing to see how it was, and check the next day to see if we have Bali belly and how we feel and how we like the food, and then go back and if we liked it.
For sure. We'll be sure to shoot a video, guys, on our favorite restaurants and share that with you because they are unbelievable. Next up, water. So, as you have heard, I'm sure you heard, Bali water is a little different. Honestly, guys, it really is harsh on the skin, harsh on the hair. Some places, mostly hotels, have filters, but your villa, your homestay may not. So I really suggest bringing great moisturizers with you for the skin, like say shea butter, and also whatever your product is for the hair, be sure to bring it with you. Your hair is going to dry out and it will fall out. It is a pain. It's just something that you sort of just have to deal with. So as preventative as you can be, do that. Bring those products for yourself.
Also, one thing we notice is most residences don't have laundry facilities, so you don't have a washer dryer. Luckily, there's a lot of places you can take your laundry to where they'll wash it, dry it, and fold it for you at pretty low fee. But we just noticed that a lot of our laundry wasn't coming back very clean, and it was sort of an issue.
Honestly, whites is a problem. Unfortunately, I had a lot of white clothing that just came back with stains, came back colored. So as much as you ask them to wash it a certain way, we sort of think it ties in with the water quality there. So just be aware of that. Carry dark clothes. It'll save you a lot of time and energy. One thing that we did do with our laundry facility that we would go to pretty often, we would actually ask them to put in double the amount of the detergent, and the clothes came back a little bit better.
Another thing we noticed is that most places don't have a top sheet on the bed. So for us, that's important, and we really had to, find a place where we could buy one, and then we use that in our different locations. Just so something to keep in mind.
Oh yeah, we for sure carried. People probably thought we were crazy, but we brought our top sheet to hotels, wherever we were staying. That's just one of our things, but it is a quirk of Bali.
And there's also really unusual smells depending on where you live. Coming out of our bathroom.
Yeah,
And
it's the smells do not discriminate. So you can be in an amazing 6-bedroom villa, a 1 bedroom apartment. It really does have to just do more with their sewer system, well water, I guess, if you want to say. Um, so the scents don't stay, but they do come and come unexpectedly. So for us, we sort of found a way to negate it as best as we could. We bought incense and also, oil diffusers. It does help. So just one of those quirks. If you bring the stuff with you, or you can easily buy that stuff in Bali.
And there's a lot of pharmacies on Bali, and I guess this is a pro, is really you can get a lot of prescription over the counter without having a prescription on the island at a relatively cheap price, depending on what you're looking for. Um, but one of the negatives related to that is like vitamins. One of the things we brought with us, but when we ran out, we noticed that vitamins are quite expensive here and low dosage, so it's sort of an issue if you do take a lot of vitamins.
Yeah, so bring them with you, stock up. I mean, or you're just gonna have to pay a lot more than you normally would. Another item that you either can get at, hopefully get at the pharmacy or some kind of convenience stores, ladies, are your feminine care products. Now, Bali is different culturally, so honestly, you're not going to find tampons readily available. Stock up. I really, honest to God, thought I brought enough for like a lifetime with me in my luggage, but really, you do run out. And it was an issue trying to buy what you needed. We spoke about before, there's Tokopedia. I attempted to order a few times on there. I was only successful once. And that 1 box of tampons cost me $50. So it is a real issue. Bring them. Load up that luggage, your carry-on, whatever you need to do. Be prepared.
Yeah, so the Tokopedia is actually like the Amazon in the US. It's where you can order products from and get things while you're living there, which is, nice to have. The downside to that is you have to first get a phone, load the app. It's in another language. You have to translate it, and then you have to go to a store, a convenience store, and put cash down to put on your card. You can't just use a credit card. So it's a little bit of inconvenience, and things, you can't get as many things as you think you can get. So if you really need something and it's a must have and you're coming here, make sure you bring it.
For sure. Next up for us, as we told you guys, we are big coffee drinkers. When we first arrived to Bali, we went out a bunch of different cafes, restaurants. We like our cappuccinos, our iced cappuccinos. And honestly, they're a bit pricier. They add up, and really, they're not up to our quality or how we like them. So we actually invested in an espresso, and we do travel with our milk frother. So we just ended up making them at home. Actually, it was even better. We saved money, and they were to the standard that we enjoy.
Yeah, it was sort of hassle going out every morning, get a cappuccino, and be disappointed with the cappuccino. So we decided, hey, let's make it our way, invest a little bit, and we actually carry this around with us, our Nespresso machine, and it's saved us not only a lot of money, but just a lot of convenience of not having to go out all the time. And I guess the last thing we want to talk about is Wi-Fi. And Becky could talk a little bit more about this, but it's definitely spotty in most parts of the island.
For sure. So, guys, since it is so unreliable, if you find yourself, you have to do, say, work, get your work done, focus while you have that Wi-Fi, because you never know when it can go out on you. It's not always the fault of where you're staying. It's just Bali. And so then you're reliant on whenever the technician can come to your neighborhood to fix the Wi-Fi. So it can be out for a good day. So it's just one of these things to be prepared, be ready for. It's going to happen. And you sort of just have to go with the flow of it, not get too stressed. So these are just some of the little quirks that we encountered. We still had the most amazing time in Bali, but we just wanted to share this information with you guys, just so you can be a little bit more prepared, maybe have less quirky stories than we did and experiences. We do hope that, this information helps you out in your travels coming to Bali.
Yeah, guys. So thanks for listening, and please subscribe and like us.
Yeah,
and
hit that button.
hit that button. Thank you.
And watch out for our next videos. Okay, bye
Bye.
guys.